Hello and welcome to my studio. This week I'm still in Cumbria in my studio in Elston, and I'm working on my painting of Chiswick House and Gardens. I'm Helen Alice Johnson, artist, and each week I show you what I've been up to the previous week in my studio, either here in Cumbria or in northern France. So what I'm going to do now is dive straight in and give you a little look as to what it is I've been doing with this painting behind me, which is an abstract painting based on Chiswick House and Gardens, as I say, and I'm halfway through it, still a long way to go, but let's go and have a look. So you may remember from last week that I said I was going to get rid of the house on this picture because it wasn't working. First thing that I've done is actually transferred that into a black and white image so I can get a good idea of tonal range on my painting. And then you can see here that I have actually replaced the house with this little building that is by the side of the river that runs through the gardens. And I prefer this already. There's a long way to go, but I prefer this already. Here I am adding some gold leaf in the shape of crowns, kind of delicate little crowns, and the reason for that is that picture that you can see inset is of some foliage as part of the garden outside the conservatory in the gardens at Chiswick, and they look like golden crowns coming out of the ground, which I really liked the look of. So I am applying some gold leaf here to recreate that look. As it turned out, the application of the gold leaf was really tricky on this painting. I think it's because I had oil pastel underneath where I'd originally put the crowns in oil pastel, and so the gold leaf was actually sticking to the oil pastel, and it ended up being a really tricky job to take off. So putting it on wasn't too bad. As you can see here, I'm just daubing it on. It's a bit tricky because it's very fiddly, but it's not a difficult job. But actually taking it off was a lot more problematic. So the first job is to take it off with a brush and try to get the shape that was underneath that I'd put on with the glue, the size, but it was still proving to be really difficult to get that detail in. The first one's not so bad, but some of them were just literally sat there like little blobs of gold that wouldn't quite work. So in the end I resorted to using an etching tool that I've just bought actually, and I actually scratched the crowns off the gold, out of the gold if you like, which in the end I've really liked the effect that it gives, because it gives an almost kind of graffiti effect, and where I've scratched into the canvas and scratched into the gold leaf. It looks quite nice. So here's just another little bit of detail that I'm adding a bit more gold leaf to. These shapes, if you like, look a little bit like pawns on a chessboard. They're repeated throughout the whole of Chiswick House and Gardens. You see them on the roof of the actual house, but you see them in the shape of the bridge, of the detail of the bridge, so you can look through the gaps of these with the water beyond. And although not the same, they kind of look like people, and there are an awful lot of statues and kind of references to the human form dotted around Chiswick. So yeah, I quite like this as a repeat pattern on my painting. This video, there's quite a lot of thought processes that go into making an abstract painting, and I hope that you've found it useful and had a little bit more of an understanding as to how I go about making my work and why I make decisions around putting certain things in, certain motifs and shapes. So thanks ever so much for watching. If you don't already, please follow me on Instagram at Helen Alice Johnson Artist, and you'll get regular updates on a daily